Um, so Watts residents will have access to fresh fruits and vegetables. Also, 118,000 square foot of new commercial space, that which includes the Freedom Plaza that is currently being utilized by residents and others. They will also have 216 new affordable rental units, electric car sharing, van pool, and dash bus. We're going to make the dash bus electric, and you won't have to have harmful gases being released into the community. We're also going to launch an electric car share. People will be able to rent them and go to the grocery stores and doctor's appointments and things like that without emitting those harmful gases into our community. Also, there will be two new public parks and 1 mile of new cultural trails. These trails that will highlight the arts and cultural history of Watts, their leaders, and athletes. So this is something that I myself as a Watts resident is looking forward to, thanks to the Watts Rising and the TCC grant. So the Watts Rising Collaborative Displacement Avoidance Working Group, also known as DOG, the Watts Rising Transformative Climate Communities TCC team is currently implementing a displacement avoidance plan to ensure that Watts residents stay rooted in their community and are able to enjoy the benefits being created by the TCC and other Watts Rising initiatives. Woohoo! So the Displacement Avoidance Working Group, the displacement avoidance steps we're taking are to build and keep affordable housing, connect Watts residents to resources and information to help you stay in your home through renters' rights and foreclosure prevention information, lower utility bills, increase wealth by purchasing a home, increase income through jobs, helping Watts businesses to succeed and thrive with business training, access to capital, and contract procurement. To learn more about other resources to help you stay rooted in the community, please visit www.wattsrising.org/stay rooted. Also, join us tomorrow for the second annual Minding Your Business Watts Small Business Summit. This event will provide vital information for small business owners, how to start a business and select a business structure, how to grow your business with access to capital, Los Angeles Green Business Program, and how to grow your business with contracting. Don't miss out. RSVP at www.wattsrising.org/stay-rooted/business. We also have rental units available at Oak Grove at Jordan Downs. Deadline to apply is July 1st. Go ahead and get the link below that's on the slide so that you will be able to apply or spread the information to those who are interested in applying for the Oak Grove at Jordan Downs. Remember, the deadline to apply is July 1st, which is just a few days away. With that being said, we'd like to once again thank you all for joining the Watts Rising team in this workshop. So things like this workshop is also a way that we are getting resources into the community by providing them with the vital information that these speakers from the organizations that are here that are going to give us. You know, sometimes we know that these investment doesn't always get to us in the community. But with this investment, we are seeing it right before our eyes. These resources are being directly given to us as Watts residents. And me as a proud Watts resident is happy that Watts Rising are bringing these much needed and vital resources to my community. Thank you all for joining us. And next, we're going to get ready for our speakers. And first up, we will have Lorena Garcia. She is the manager of grant operations for Green Commuter. I'll hand it over to you, Lorena.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here and to talk to the residents of Watts. And if we can start with my slide, or my slides, that would be fantastic. I actually just recently got a promotion, so now I'm the director of grants and grants and partnerships. So that's really exciting.
Oh.
So no, thank you. It's very recent, so of course not many things have been updated, but. So essentially, I'm here to represent Green Commuter. We are also one of the co-leads on the Transformative Climate Communities grant. Excuse me. And so just a little bit about Green Commuter before I start. We're disrupting mobility and commuting as you know it, and we're saving time, money, and the planet. So we're really excited to show you what we have in store for you. Next slide, please. So this is me. My name is Lorena, and I have a master's in public administration. That means that it's the kind of where the government, nonprofits, and other companies come together for the public good. So Green Commuter is a perfect example of that. We're actually not a nonprofit and we're not a government organization. We're actually just a really green-minded company. And so, like I said, this is brand new. I just made this today. So it has Director of Grants and Partnerships, and I'm really excited to be a part of the Watts Rising team. I'll put my email address up again, but I want to talk about, we really want to be available to the community for input, especially as we go into our next phase. So let's talk about that. So next slide, please. So first of all, some of the goals of the program is to really alleviate traffic. For every green commuter van pool or car share that's on the road, we remove about 11 to 16 vehicles from the road. This is really important because we're doing great work in planting all of our trees and creating public access to bike paths and things like that. But we also have to look at how we're utilizing the emissions, and every little bit counts. And so next slide, please. So obviously we wanted to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And so each year, every green commuter Tesla Model X, so that was what we originally started with. We have a whole fleet of different vehicles now. So we offset the same amount of carbon emissions as planting 100 new trees. So we're really excited about that. And like I said, every little bit counts to increase our air quality, especially in densely populated areas. Next slide, please. So what are we doing for megawatts and for Watts Rising? So essentially, we're doing an electrical vehicle car share program. Some of you have seen some of our electrical charging stations at Jordan Downs. The idea for the grant is to have 3 mobility hubs, which will create more than 20 new EV charging stations for Watts. And then also the other part of that is once we have the infrastructure in place, we'll be able to bring zero emission vehicles coming to Watts. We're hoping for fall, winter of 2022. So we're really excited about that. And last I checked, I think it was between 15 and 20. It really depends on a few factors, what the final number is going to be. Obviously, supply chain, et cetera, costs have gone up. So that's something that we're working on with our partners. Next slide, please. So what's the update on our current progress? Well, we have 2 chargers at Primstone Jordan Downs. We have 2 more sites planned, and we're working on vehicle acquisition, and we'll also be hiring to kind of support the program. And so we're very hopeful that those hiring, those that we'll be hiring will be from the Watts area. Now, again, that depends, of course, on a few factors, but we're really committed to the community in that way. Next slide, please. And so we're looking for new site host locations and input. We work with HACLA, and we work with the partners to kind of determine where those locations might be. And so, like I said, Jordan Downs was our first site. We're working on a site through HACLA. We're working on different sites. So I think with input from the community, especially, I myself am not a resident of Watts, but in one of our other grants, I am a resident, and I had a lot to say about where I wanted to go in the community. I think it was it Cartasia who said that, you want to do errands, and it's very difficult if you've done errands on the bus. And that's the biggest feedback that we feel we get from the community. is that it's very hard to be strategic, to be purposeful, to really reduce our emissions because we're using public transportation, which could take hours just to cross Watts, you know, and or to go get to multiple appointments. So that is something that the car sharing program is really going to help to achieve. And so again, you know, we have Jordan Downs. I think we even have Freedom Plaza. I'm not too read up, you know, again, I just started this position, so I'm really excited, but we're always looking for input in that sense of where you want to go. And especially when we get into like the van pooling portion of it, if that's something that is determined for this community, then, you know, we need a lot of input from that and from what's going to be most impactful for the residents. And we want you to use the service, of course. So it should be something that's easy to use and is going where you want to go. Next slide, please. So our EV fleet will be available hopefully late fall of 2022. We're looking at the Chevy Bolt and also the Tesla Model Y. There's a lot of new emergent technology in electric vehicles. So even starting this grant, you know, only the Tesla Model X was commercially available. Now we've kind of had the Chevy Bolt and now the Tesla Model Y. And so these are new emergent technologies, which means that, you know, it's different to drive an electric vehicle if you've ever driven one. And so it might take a little bit of you know, training, onboarding of people, but at the same time, you know, you're not wasting gas, you're not, you know, putting out emissions. And so we really feel like this is going to be a great opportunity for the residents of Watts to really kind of get out there and use these electric vehicles with the idea in mind that maybe that's something that, you know, our children won't have to be onboarded on electric vehicles. This will probably be their future. So again, we want that future to come to residents of Watts because I feel like, especially with emergent technologies, you kind of sometimes have to be affluent and have money to have access to these things. And we don't want that to be the case. And so that's one of the big reasons behind this grant money and really getting that together. And so let's go to the next slide. So this is kind of just a really simple pricing structure right now based on kind of the grant funding and things like that. So it's electric car rental is $5 an hour, $29 per day. And so that's what this grant would allow us to do. And so, like I said, it's coming soon. And then we're also working on some van pool options as well, which is kind of different. And we can definitely cover that at another time. But I'm here to mostly talk about the car sharing. Next slide, please. So what's car sharing? So car sharing is, you know, it's an app where you're essentially renting or borrowing a car. And so you do all of that through our proprietary technology, which means that we built an app that allows you to, and this is depending on the model, but some of them it's to start the engine, to lock and unlock. You know, you can book your car sharing. It's all, the billing is in there as well. If you're a van pool rider, you can find a van pool match, and of course reporting if you have to, you know, log your mileage for work. And that's the other thing that car sharing makes really easy, is you can do things like maybe DoorDash or other you know, I don't believe that Uber is something that you can do in one of our cars, but we're turnkey, so it includes, you know, the insurance, it includes all of the things that you might need to use that. And so I think this is where I had the video to kind of show you what it looks like to use one of our cars. And so we can play that, and then we can go from there.
Thank you, Lorena. So
For sure.
are you playing it on your end, or do we have access to it?
I sent the link to. I can definitely play it though if you like.
Okay. Yes, please go ahead and do that.
Okay, give me just a second. Sorry about that. I'll set that up.
No, it's okay. We like videos. We're a video culture now. And if somebody is in there dancing in it, we love that even more because we're TikTok generation.
For sure.
Some of us.
For sure.
Young people on the line.
Let me see. Okay, sorry about that. So let me get this set up and then I'll share my screen. Let's see. Okay, let's see if this works. You don't have to tell me about sound and everything, but it's loading. All the wonders of technology.
Yes. There we go.
Yeah, so it should be playing in just a second. I'm sorry. Thank you for your patience.
So, you're all ready to start your adventure in your state-of-the-art green commuter vehicle. When you approach your vehicle, it'll be plugged into a charging station. With a firm grip of your paw, remove the cable, place it in the charging station cradle, and close your charging port cover. Unlock your car using the Green Commuter app and hop in. To turn on your vehicle, put your foot down on the ignition button. Double check to make sure your emergency brake isn't on. That's down in your lower left. Buckle up and make sure your mirrors are adjusted to suit your needs. The gear shift is a little different than what you may be used to. To put the car in reverse, move the lever forward, and for drive, move it backward. To park, press the park button. If your trip takes you to an area with no internet connection, you will have to lock and unlock the car using the key fob located in the glove compartment. Remember that after you use your green commuter vehicle, be sure to lock the doors. That way we'll know your time is finished. And don't forget to plug in the vehicle for the next user. We are a community after all. If you have any questions, visit the help page of greencommuter.org and contact us anytime.
Okay. So hopefully you were able to see that, and I can put, oops, sorry about that. So hopefully we were able to hear and see that. No, it's not always easy. I can drop the link in the chat as well when I'm finished. But I already think that there are questions in the chat. So I think my next and last slide, I think, was questions, and you can contact me. And so let me just go back to Devin's question. Will they be bringing back the car trade in for a hybrid electric vehicle, or is this the rent-a-car program? So the bringing a car for trade-in was actually a different funding source. This is specifically for the Watts community for the use of the car share program. And so we're going to be building that up. And that's one of the things that it takes a lot of community buy-in. This would mean you have to download an app and kind of learn how to use it. And so we wanted to be here to answer those questions and to talk about, you know, that particular model. I believe that video was filmed on is a Tesla Model X. So those can possibly be available in the area if you use our services. But you know, we'll have videos for different models. The Chevy Bolt is one that's a big kind of that's going to be big in the Watts area, depending on how, you know, when we purchase and how we purchase. It just has to do with what's available, and fleet maintenance and operations is not my strong suit, but there will definitely be things available. And I think Marvin had a question. We most likely won't have a job fair. I think what will end up happening, so the maintenance and the administration of the car share program will be locally based. So we will have someone Watts area that is kind of a mixed medium person. They would, you know, be helping with the car share and the customer service part of it. So you know who you're contacting when you have trouble with, you know, your car had a flat tire or something like that. How do you deal with that? But the other part too is that, you know, I'm the director of the grants program. You know, we're working on the Watts area, but there's really people that, you know, we want to be mindful of connecting to the local community. So it's not going to be like a lot of jobs. It's going to be like one or two people, possibly one that's part-time. So we have to look at that because all of this is grant funded. And so our hope, of course, as a private company is to continue the program past the grant, you know, end date. And so that's one of the ways that we make it you know, impactful for people is we want you to use the service and we want to make it as easy as we can for you to use the service. So we'll have people that are on site, maybe not 24/7, but they're definitely available to answer questions and to help you through if you have trouble, because not everyone, I know a lot of people have smartphones now, but maybe not everybody has one. So there has to be options for that. And that is something that definitely, we take into consideration. Were there any other questions that anybody wanted to, like I said, we're working towards a date of, late fall, maybe early winter, end of the year, for cars to be available. So that's just, there's a lot of factors that go into that. So that's just how that works.
Thank you so much, Lorena. I do have a question.
Sure.
I remember, and forgive me if you mentioned this, and I'm kind of monitoring the chat. At the start of Green Commuters' work under Watts Rising, there was going to be like some cohorts of people who could participate in the electric vehicle car maintenance training program. Is that still in the works, or have things shifted? Because I know different things have shifted due to COVID and everything.
That's actually a really good, no, that's an excellent question. I don't have the data on that actually. I can find that out. I know that for some of our other grants, we had worked with other organizations that do the workforce development portion of it. I know that in other areas, for example, we had a successful grant in the city of Pasadena, and we did have training courses through, I think it was the extension at the Pasadena City College campus. I don't have the details on what that looks like for Watts. And it could be that was within, there were a lot of, like I said, the van pool is another part where that was something that was discussed before. I don't know what the status of that is. And it could be that, for example, in another location, people didn't want the van pool, they wanted more cars. So we were able to shift that resource. So it kind of depends on what the needs of the community are. And that's why we're always available for community input. And I'm going to put my email address in the chat so you can email me with questions. But that is a very good question. I don't have a direct answer for that, though. I apologize. I know that originally, and I want to say that we did kind of use another resource to do the workforce development part.
Okay, so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'd like to invite you when we have our next Watts Rising public forum. It might be in July, but it might be in August.
Sure.
It'd be good to get the clarification for those questions so that we can, if there will be a future cohort or something like that, we can be sure to publicize it so people can take advantage of that training opportunity.
For sure. And I'm going to go ahead and ask that question of my boss to make sure that I'm not misspeaking. And if I get an answer, I'll definitely put it in the chat for that question specifically.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was some lovely information that we received, and hopefully when it comes to fruition, our Watts residents will be able to utilize this and reduce some greenhouse gases within our community, which is vital and much needed. So with that being said, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our next speaker, which is, I'm sorry if I mispronounced this, Imelda Rodriguez from the Neighborhood Housing Services of LA County. Thank you, Imelda Rodriguez, and also thank you again, Lorena. So I would like to hand the floor on over to, I'm sorry, am I saying it right? Could you tell me the correct pronunciation? I'm sorry, we can't hear you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here today. And my name is Imelda Rodriguez. I am with Neighborhood Housing Services of LA County. I am a senior housing counselor as well as a loan officer. And today, I think we're gonna go over a couple of programs that we have. And I'd like to share as much as information as I can so people can take advantage of it. And I just want you to know, for any reason you're interested in more information, you can always reach out to us and participate in one of our workshops so you can get more information. Right now, Because of the time, I'll just go with the basic information today. So thank you for being here today. We can start. And as I mentioned, we were going to go over 2 different programs. We have our Don't Move, Improve, which is more for home repairs, and the Mortgage Assistance Workshop. This is more informational for people that are experiencing hardship and are able to make mortgage payments. So the goal here is that we want to avoid foreclosure process because it has negative impact on your credit and your financials, and sometimes even the personal level. So we want to prevent that. And we want you to have information and the tools necessary, and that you know that there are organizations out there that we are here to help you. Next step. Just a little bit about NHS. We've been in business since 1984. That means it's over 37 years that we've been serving the community. We've invested more than $7.6 billion into our neighborhoods throughout Los Angeles County. And just for today on our foreclosure prevention, we have been able to protect home values for more than $2.2 billion. So that is what education can do for you, and being informed on what options are available to you. And we are happy that we've been very successful with all of our programs. Next slide. We have other services, and for sake of time, this is the services that we offer. If you need more information, again, reach out to us. I'll be happy to share more information. Next slide. And let's start with the workshop today, which is our Mortgage Assistant Workshop. And today we're just going to be going over, what is foreclosure, what the process is, and how we can prevent it. So those are the key points that I like to go over today. So we can go to the next slide. So what is foreclosure? So foreclosure is the legal process used to force the payment of collateral secured debt by selling the property to satisfy the debt. Generally speaking, from the time a person stops making their payment, the foreclosure process takes approximately 231 days. What that means is that that's how long a bank has to complete the process so they can sell the property in action if they're not able to find a solution before. It doesn't mean that it could be extended, because during those 231 days, that means that you have 231 days as an opportunity to find a solution before you lose your home. Okay, and that is why it's so important to know the process, because if you know where you are, then you know when you need to make a decision. Next slide. Okay, so let's start. So there's 5 steps before they can foreclose the property, which means there's 5 opportunities to resolve the problem. Okay, so step 1, you experience a hardship, you're delinquent, and during the days 30 and 90 days, you're gonna get a lot of phone calls trying to find a solution. This is the best time to be able to find a solution, because you have more options. The longer you wait, the less options that are available. And I'm going to tell you why. So if during this time you don't communicate with your lender and you don't let them know what your hardship is, there's no way for them to find out how they can help you. Okay, and I understand, because I've been doing this for many years, and I know that from a homeowner, they're afraid that they're going to lose the house. Sometimes, let's face it, we don't want to face the hardship. We don't know what to do. We feel embarrassed, and there's really nothing. We're not here to judge you. We're here to find a solution. And if you keep that in mind, that the key is to find a solution and take an action as soon as possible, the better chance that you have to save your home. So during the 30, 90 days, they're going to start calling you. And if there's no response and they're not able to communicate with the homeowner, they're going to move on to step 2. And that will be after 90 days. after 90 days, they're going to send you a notice of intent, and it's going to give the borrower another 30 days to correct the problem. An order of intent means that it's an order of intent to start the foreclosure process. So they're allowing you and giving you another 30 days to find a solution. Now, during a step 1 and a step 2, if you make a payment, they're going to accept your payment. So let's say you're 60 days delinquent and you make a payment, now you're going to be 30 days. So let's say you are 90 days and you make a payment, that means that it's going to be reduced to 60 days, but they will continue to accept your payments. It's just going to continue to roll over. So what happens after your step 2 expires and the notice of intent it's expire, then you're at 120 days. At that point, the foreclosure process will begin. And at that point, they will no longer accept any payments from you, which means in order to cure the delinquency, you have to pay it in full. So that will be 4 months that you're already delinquent, and you have to find a way to bring the 4 months in order to resolve it. Okay, and that is why a step 1 and a step 2 are so important, because if we are able to resolve the hardship before the 120 days, either through a repayment plan or negotiated in between, and that's what I'm saying, you have more options available during the step 1 and step 2, because after step 3, that's it. They will no longer accept any payments. Okay, so what's going to happen then, they're going to file a notice of default. So now this is a public record that it's going to go to notify that, hey, we give you 120 days to resolve it. We didn't hear anything from you. Now we're going to file the notice of default so we can move forward the foreclosure process. Okay. During all this times, there's still ways to resolve it. Sometimes it could be interrupted because you communicated with them and now they're looking for you to see maybe other options are available. But it doesn't mean that because they're working with you, they have to start all over again. What happens is that they might work with you, negotiate with you, and if it doesn't result into any positive outcome, it doesn't mean that they're going to go back to step 1. They will restart with step 3. Okay, next slide. So now we are at step 4. The notice of default is being filed. You have 90 days to work out something with the lender. And if you don't do anything about it after this 90 days, that means that we are at 210 days. By then, now the lender is going to file the notice of sale. And when they do that, that means that you have almost no option to resolve it, because once they file the notice of sale, it makes it more difficult for you or someone. If you reach out to our organization or any other nonprofit, there's a lot out of them that can help you. It will be very difficult to resolve it, because then we only have 20 days to do it. So after they file the notice of sale, then there are only 20 days that for you to resolve it. A lot of times you just have to cure the delinquency full so they can remove the sale date. If nothing happens at 21st day, then they can't sell the property in auction. At that point, you will lose your investment. Why you don't want to lose that? Why you don't want it to go into foreclosure? Because what's different on today's economy versus in 2008, that back then there was no equity on the properties. Nowadays it's different because most people have equity in the property. In other words, that the value of the property has gone up, and you don't want to lose that equity. You want to take that equity. It is your investment. You need to protect it. And that is why you need to, at all costs, prevent foreclosure process, because you don't want somebody else to take your equity. You want to be able to use your equity. Okay, next. So there's 2 ways that you can, you have to resolve or come with a positive outcome during those 221 days. One is keeping you home. The other one is transitioning out of the property, which there's nothing wrong. A lot of people realize it's not a good investment for me. I'm losing more money and they just want to sell it, get rid of the property. That's an option. But probably 80% of the population want to keep their home. So there's just a few options that are available. Number one is a refinance, which probably if you're in default, that means your credit has been affected. That may not be the best solution unless you look into refinance if you're an imminent default, or if you feel that your income has been reduced and maybe a refinance will resolve it prior to you being late. So that's option number one. Number two, forbearance. Now with COVID, I think one way or the other, we all experience some sort of hardship. And there were a lot of programs out there that were proactive in assisting clients. And some of them for lenders were forbearance. I want to make this clear because a lot of people get confused between forbearance and forgiven. One thing that you have to know, and I always tell people, when they offer you forbearance, it only means that you're gonna have to pay it on a later time. It's not forgiven. They're telling you, I understand that you have a hardship. You can't make your payment right now. I'm gonna let you not make payments for usually it's in 3 months increment. I think with COVID, it was up to 18 months. What's gonna happen at the end of 18 months is that you have to find a way to pay it back. So if someone is considering this option, my recommendation is to make sure you ask, what are my options after my forbearance ends? Because that is important before you make this decision, okay? The other option will be a repayment plan or a reinstatement. So for someone who's only 90 days delinquent and they were on a forbearance for 3 months, this might work because it could be a repayment plan. Anything over 60 days, they won't give you a repayment plan. That means that you have to cure the delinquency in full. Other ways is that everybody knows about the loan modification. So loan modification is just modifying the existing terms of your loan, which means that they might reduce your interest rate, they might extend your term, they might put some principal into a non-interest bearing to help you come out with a lower payment that is sustainable based on your income. But a lot of times your income is so low that they're not able to accommodate your final payment that's within your means. Fortunately, nowadays, they're offering to, if there's a forbearance, they're offering to put it into a non-interest principal balance, as long as you are able to make your payment. So as you can see, there's a lot of options. Lenders are willing to work with you. They don't want to lose the investment. They're not in the business of taking home. They're in the business to have clients that are making payments on it. So it's to your benefit and to their benefit to come up with a solution. So the other one is transitioning out of the property. And how you do that is just a traditional sale. If you have equity on the property, you're not able to sustain the payment, you can just list your property traditionally, take that equity, resolve your hardship, and you can buy another property on a later time. Okay, the other one, which doesn't really apply on today's market, which is a short sale, it only means that you owe more than what the property is worth. So you might owe 100,000, but the property, they can only sell the property for 50,000. That means that you will be short. What are the benefits of this is the impact on your credit is less. If you foreclose on your property, more than likely you have to wait between 7 to 10 years before you can buy another property. If you go with one of these, probably within 3 years you are able to buy another property. The benefit of, also there's an additional benefit. And I like just to go back and explain a little bit. When you when you sign your documents and you put in your property as collateral, you also personally guaranteeing the loan. In other words, that if they don't recover their investment in full, they can go after you for the deficiency. So by applying for a short sale, they waive that option that they have to go after you. So that's an additional benefit. You know that they're not going to go after you for the difference. Okay. And then the last one is for deed in lieu. In other words, it's just like card. You can make your a card payment, you return the card. The same thing with the house. You can just call the bank and say, hey, this is not sustainable for me. I'm not able to make payments. Can you please take my house back? And you get the same benefits as the short sale. So you get that the deficiency waiver and less impact on your credit, and more than likely you are able to acquire another property within 3 years. So those are your options. I'm going rather quickly here because I want to cover most of the information. So if we can just go into the next slide. Okay, so some homeowners use the bankruptcy to hold a sale of the property. This could be a good solution, but it's only a temporary solution. It's just going to buy you some time to find a resolution to the hardship, and maybe a modification. It's in process and you need more time. But if you're going to do that, you need to make sure that you seek legal advice, and you can see the benefits and disadvantages of filing BK, because a lot of times some work don't allow it if there is a bankruptcy, especially if you're in the financial world. So you need to be careful and you need to ask all those questions before you do that. Bankruptcy is not something that you want to do incorrectly. Next slide. And understanding your budget, it is important that you have and understand your budget. You need to know how much you earn. You need to know how much you spend. You need to know how much is left. And you need to evaluate your budget, you know, every 6 months. Maybe you're overspending and that's why you're not able to sustain the payment anymore. You'll be surprised, you know, once you write down your expenses and income and you itemize your expenses and you realize that you're spending $400 in coffee every month. Okay, so it is important to evaluate your budget on at least every 6 months and make adjustments to be able to prevent any hardship in the future. You want to also add some emergency funding savings for cases unexpected like COVID-19. So we are prepared with savings of at least 6 months worth of payments. Okay, so the money that you save can become either you get back on track money or I need to start over. And it's okay to start over too. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, next slide. And our next program, I think I'm all over time, so I'm going to go quick. Once you own a house and you want to make repairs, we do have programs also to help you with that. So if I can go to the next slide. If you want to do, if you need repairs on major systems, electrical, plumbing, code items, roofing, health and safety, we do have a program to cover all of those things. I know that because we do that on a daily basis, a lot of people want to do it themselves, but those are things that it can be very dangerous. You want to do it under code. You want to make sure that it's done properly, especially for your own safety. So we make sure that it's done properly and that you don't have to worry about you doing the job. And we do have a project management team that it's great for this. Next slide. Our project management services, we have qualified inspection and project management team. We provided feasibility inspections, work write-ups and project management. We help you with assistant selection of licensed funded general contractor to help you ensure that every job starts and ends on time within budget for the project. Inspector will provide you with a full scope of the job so that you have health and safety, building code, and other items that need a repair. Project management helps both the borrower and the contractor. Next slide. Obviously, we do have financing available for this type of home repair. We basically have the revolving loan fund that is a 20-year loan. The rate right now could be between 3 to 5%, up to $60,000 if they're just small repairs. We also have our Cal Home program that is up to $75,000 and is deferred for 30 years. What that means to you is that you don't make a payment. It's a 3% deferred over 30 years. So you can refinance later on and pay it. It's simple interest. Most people want to get this program. There is some income requirements that you have to qualify for. But if you're interested, I can share more information on it. Another way to finance it is if you refinance with cash out, which right now rates going up. Most people have an excellent rate right now. They don't want to refinance. But sometimes it really depends on the project they want to complete. It might work for them. And also equity line of credit. That's also an option. We do offer all of this available financing through our organization. So we welcome for you to apply. You go through the housing counseling first, and then we also work with the loan officer. It's going to help you and determine which program is the best for you. So these loans are based on upon your ability to repay. It's focused on the vision for your property and health and safety of your property. Our project management services require when NHS lands available for any project that involves home improvement. And that means that the first two projects, which is that I talked about, the Cal Home and the revolving fund, those require for NHS to do the project management. If you do refinance a home equity line, it is up to the homeowner if they want to use our services. Next slide. And the most important thing, I can't stress enough, take action, whether if you are facing a hardship or not, or if you are considering a home repair. That's the most important lesson you can take away from this discussion is you must take action to change something. If you don't take action, nothing's going to change. Okay, nothing's worse than doing nothing. Next. And this is our contact information. We have an office in Wilshire, and we also have our Center of Sustainable Communities in Compton, California. This is our phone number. And if you want to email us, you can email us at counseling@nhslacounty.org. And I think that's it for me today. I hope this was informational. And if you need to reach out to me later, please do so. And thank you for the invite today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that great information that you just provided. This was very informative. Thank you once again. So up next, we will be—
Wait, Partasia, before we transition, just want to see if anyone has questions.
Okay, got it. Okay. Does anyone have any questions they would like to ask Esmeralda in regards to this program?
Yes. My name is Shaquille, and I just wanted to know, I wanted to reach out to your program as well. Is this only for people who are currently homeowners, or what about new homeowners who want to purchase property within Watts?
Yes, we do have a pre-purchase program as well. We also have down payment assistance program. It's just that today we just wanted to discuss the foreclosure process and the home repair, but please reach out to me. I'll be happy to share information, or you can go into our websites and look our calendar for our first time home buyer program.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Any more questions? And the website is in the chat. If you don't have the website, it is just dropped in the chat.
Yes.
Okay.
Greeting. I have a question if you guys can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
This is Ignite. My question is, so my house is actually in probate. My grandmother transitioned last year and the house is in probate. I am actually in the process of buying it. I live in the house. I've lived in the house all my life. And so I'm in the process of buying it from the probate. Do you guys still offer assistance in that type of situation?
As long as it's your first time buying a house in the last 3 years, and obviously you need to get the court order that, they accept the offer. Yes.
Yeah, that's in writing. That's in writing already that that they will accept 5% down at a 90% offer of 90% of the value.
Yes. Send us an email with your information and I will reach out to you to get more information.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay. Well, if you do have any more questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or just go ahead and chime in a little bit later with your questions. Before we get to the next speaker, I would like to do a poll. We have a poll which wanted to ask how many are Watts residents, also how many are homeowners or renters and others. So we will get that poll up in just one moment. And again, thank you for joining us. Okay. Also, we also want to know if you have not pre-registered for this, could you please direct message us your contact information, your name and your contact information so that we can add you to our mailing list. And we also get you information about other workshops and resources that Watts Rising will be having available. So once again, if you have not pre-registered for this event, you can direct message Miss Ivory. She just dropped it in the chat so that she can be able to add you to the necessary mailing list and also be able to get your information so we can know who's attending this lovely meeting. So let me get this polls. Just a moment. Okay. Sorry for the slight inconvenience. We're going to get that poll up in just a second.
Should have had our Jeopardy music queued up. There we go. Seeing all that info come in.
Okay, we see the info coming in. We see, oh, wait, did it end? The proposed relaunching the clear results. Okay. What happened? Poll. So was everybody else able to get the poll? I'm not showing it on my end. Okay, about one is Watts. Okay, all that information is spewing in. We see that about 70, okay, well now 60% is Watts residents, 40%, well, it was 40%, now 33% is renters, 50% are homeowners, and 33% is others. So we thank you for participating in that poll. This information is very valuable so we can know that who is participating in these workshops and so that we can be able to, get a far reach into within the Watts community so that they can be able to utilize these resources that are being presented here tonight on this workshop. Thank you. And also remember that if you have not pre-registered, please drop your information into the chat so that we can go ahead and get you other resources that will be available through Watts Rising. Okay, I'll share those results. Okay, and up next we have the Los Angeles Housing Department, Miss Sarah Wall. She is the Community Housing Programs Manager through the LA Housing Department. Miss Sarah Hall, you can go ahead and take it away.
All right, thanks to the Watts Rising teams for inviting me to share the Healthy Homes programs that the City of LA offers residents of Watts and greater LA. Next slide, please. So I oversee 2 programs with the department. And the first one that I'm going to share with you all is the lead hazard remediation program. And this is a really, really important program because prior to 1978, lead paint was used to paint homes and was used because it helped the paint last longer. And now, because some of the housing stock in the greater Los Angeles basin is older, pre-1978, it's at a point where some of it could be sort of peeling or chipping and is deteriorating as it does with time. And this is extremely dangerous, particularly for children 0 to 6 and for women who may be expecting or planning to expect in the future. Lead is a neurotoxin and it can cause damage in the cognitive development of children. And it can be inhaled, it can be ingested, absorbed by skin. If the paint is peeling, it does tend to get particularly bad around the windows. When you're opening and closing the windows, you could be diffusing particulates into the air. And so what our program does is we provide grants to the homeowners and also to landlords to pay for the construction and remediation of removing that lead toxin from the household. So this program, both renters and landlord and owners are eligible for it. So you don't have to own the home. And what it does is it can provide up to $25,000 per household, or in some cases more if it's a single family home, to remove lead. And that is done by folks that have certifications and are equipped to handle that hazardous material. We work with the County of LA, who also has a program that does something similar in other areas of the county that we do not work in. But if you were to contact us and it was in an area that we don't offer services, I would refer you to the county and forward your name and contact info that way. So next slide, please. All right, so what are the eligibility requirements to participate in this program? So first, your property has to have lead. And we determine that. We first do sort of a surface level test with this equipment that uses a laser that can actually look back 100 layers of paint and to see preliminary, is there lead on the property? And then further down the road in the process, we'll also test your soil. We'll test other areas inside of the home to make sure that the home is safe from lead. Second important criteria is there has to be a child under the age of 6 that either lives in the property or frequently visits. So that could be a grandchild, that could be a neighbor, that could be your best friend's child. And there are a small number of units that we can do that do not have to have this the child component. So I think it's about 10% that we can have. So if you are interested, but you don't have a child that under 6 that visits the home, please contact us in any way, and we'll see, if maybe you are a fit for the program. And then the third criteria that is a requirement is the occupants, not the owner of the home. So for example, if I own a home and I rent it out, my income is not the one that's looked at. It is the occupants or the tenants of the unit. So we do have to verify that the occupants are low to moderate income, and you can see those requirements here on the bottom of the slide. These numbers are set by the Department of Housing and Urban Development on an annual basis, and it's based on the area median income, sort of an average for the county of what folks earn. So for a person of one, it can be up to $66,750. We ask for documentation. If you earn cash, that's not a problem. We'll just have you sign something that self-certifies that that's how you earn your income. And there is some required paperwork that we go through because there is some liability with handling hazardous materials. And then we can get to the construction part. So I would say on average, it's about it can be up to 6 months, 3 to 6 months, just depending on how quickly we get back the lead test, the documents from the owner, the contractors have to come out. There's sort of a series, an orchestra, if you will, of logistics that happens before we actually put a shovel into the ground. Until the construction starts. And let's look at the next slide, which is the most exciting part about this program, is how nice your house will look. On the left, you see the before picture, and you see kind of, maybe some mildew or sort of an older home that has maybe some paint that's worn out. A lot of times, the scope of work can include replacing windows. So that can be really a great benefit for people to, keep it cooler in your home and just improve the overall value of your home and comfort. So this is just what before and after. Oh, that's so funny. Do you choose the new color? Yeah, that's a great question. I think as long as you don't live in a historical district, I think if you're in a historical district, you may not get to choose the color because I think it's decided upon by the historical society. But I'm pretty sure you can choose the color. We've never had anyone choose bright pink or anything, but that'd be funny. And I'm sure I can't see why it would be a problem. Next slide. So how to apply? If you're interested, the best way to apply for this program is to send an email with your name, contact information, the best phone number to reach you, your address, and we will verify that you're within our geographic areas we work. And if not, we will refer you to the county, which also has a program that could probably assist you because they sort of serve the unincorporated areas of the county. So don't fear if we can't help you out. We believe the county will be able to. And this email address actually goes to 3 members of our team. So it is not going to get missed by anyone, but you can, if you're not comfortable with using computers, or you just prefer to talk to a human, you could call the phone number. We do have bilingual staff in Spanish and also in Chinese. And we could probably find other languages if you needed that. I just saw a question about asbestos, and we do not test for that to my knowledge, but to be honest, I've only been in this job 3 months. I've been in affordable housing a long time, but I've only been in this job 3 months. So there's still some nuances of the program I'm learning. So don't take that as a definitive answer. When you apply, we could follow up on that question. Okay, next slide. Oh, there's that poll again. All right, let me move the poll. Okay, the second program that I oversee is called the Handiworker Program. And both this and the LED program have been in the city for over 20 years. And this is a really great program because what it does is it helps homeowners and renters, again, both folks are eligible, to stay living in their home independently for longer. And the program primarily targets older adults over the age of 62. However, if you have a disability, you may also be eligible for the program. And what the program does is provides minor home repairs. And you can see some examples of what that looks like in the bullet points. So for example, wheelchair ramps, toilets, window quick releases. So if you have security bars over your windows, we could install quick releases in the event that there was some type of, seismic event and you needed to exit your home. You could do so safely. Handrails, water heaters, electrical outlets, light fixtures. Now, we tend to not do things that are only for aesthetic purposes, such as wallpaper or the point of the program is really to focus on things in your home that improve the safety and livability of your home. And so if you are facing a code violation, that is also probably from our department, although, we sit in very different places, so we don't necessarily work together too often, but the code folks will, their job is really to ensure that housing is safe for renters, and they will go out, and if there's a some type of safety issue, they could give a citation. Now, if there is a citation that has to do with with something that we can help with, or even peeling paint, that is a perfect case for us to try to fix this problem. And so if you are facing a code violation, feel free to contact us and we'll see if it's within our scope of work. We also do safety devices. So for renters, because the landlord is the owner of the unit, is primarily responsible for maintaining the unit. For example, if there's a leak or, if the oven breaks, that is the landlord's responsibility. But if there are things that are related to the accessibility of the home, we will install those items at no cost for the renter. And that includes grab bars, toilet seat risers, so you can sit and transfer from a mobility device or a scooter or a walker to your toilet or shower, a shower chair, handheld shower heads, and things of that nature. We have a case right now where we are actually looking at widening a doorway for a person who needs to get into their bathroom with their new mobility device. Now that one's unusual, a little out of our scope of work, but it's such an important service so this person can continue to live in their home, which is what they want. That we're gonna go ahead and look at that and performing those repairs. So next slide. So what is the eligibility criteria? So you need to be age 62 or older, or be permanently disabled. You must reside in the city of Los Angeles. And we serve all types of households in terms of single family homes, apartments, condominiums, mobile homes, no tiny homes, but who knows, maybe in the future. And the allowable budget per household maximum is $5,000 and $300 for renters, but there is a little wiggle room on that. We're kind of updating those numbers because these numbers were pre-inflationary environment. So you also must meet the federal income guidelines, which are the same as the LED program that we saw on the previous slide. And these change annually with the county's average income. And so if you are interested, next slide. Similarly, you may call or you can email the email, and we have a website too. If you Google Los Angeles Housing Department handy worker, or Los Angeles Housing Department lead hazard remediation program, we will come up. The website is housing.lacity.org, and you can see other services that our department provides. And yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell the healthy home initiatives that I oversee. Oftentimes we have a smaller amount of funding that I'll just mention. I didn't create a slide for it because it's not necessarily a separate program, but say for example, you have broken cabinets in your home and it doesn't exactly fit a service that the handy worker program provides or the lead program provides. We have another small pool of funding called Healthy Homes that we can pull from at times to make sure that, you know, we fully do as many things and maximize the value of the service to the resident. And it's a pretty easy application process, although there is a little bit of a waiting list right now. Unfortunately, the program was closed down and only available for emergencies, both programs, over COVID. We just fully reopened in April, so we have a little bit of a backstock of a waiting list. And we're working through that. We're ramping back up with staff and working quickly to get to folks on the list. But the program was shut down for over 2 years. It's quite unfortunate, but it is what it is, but we're ramping back up and full steam ahead. And we really want to serve residents in Watts. So please contact us. If there is an emergency, so say for example, your water heater goes out, you can't wait to get off the waiting list. Still contact us because we do have a special list for emergency services that cannot wait because you can't live in that household without your water heater. You know, and we will do our best to get to that prior to services that may not be emergency in nature. So I'd be happy. I know there were some other questions coming in. I was kind of trying to look, but keep talking at the same time. So if you know, I didn't put my email on here, but you could follow up with any questions you may have to this email address. And my email address is Sarah, SARA .wall, like the wall of a house, at lacity.org. And I'm the manager of the program, and I'd be happy to try to help point you to resources if I can't help you myself. And with that, I will pass the baton to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much for that information. And thank you for that lovely presentation. Before we go on to the next speaker, I would like for everyone to just tell us how did you find out about this event. You can also drop that into the chat. Like, how did you find out about this event? And then next we will have a raffle. It is raffle time. And one of the housing access and assistant anti-displacement coordinator, Giselle, will be heading off that raffle for you. So Giselle, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Cartasia. I think Ignite might have a question. I'm not sure if we want to get through his question first
Okay,
before
sure.
we start.
Hey guys, I apologize. I came outside, so you might hear the wind chime now. But my question was just from the earlier module regarding how long the process would take for the first-time homeowners buying, like if you needed assistance with purchasing.
Yes, what is your question? This is Imelda.
I apologize. I was trying to get away from the wind chimes. Was just asking when, like, for those who need assistance with like first-time home buyers, assistance like purchasing a home and things of that nature, how long does the process take? Like once you start, my situation is like a real crunch time situation, and so I didn't know. I was just asking like how long would the process take?
When you say you don't have time, are you in escrow already?
I have to be in escrow by August 14th or move. Like,
Okay, and you just need to know if you qualify for down payment assistance.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, no, we can rush it if you're already in escrow and you need to know right away.
Okay.
Again, reach out to me and I will request the documents that I need right away to determine whether if you meet the requirements for a down payment assistance program.
right,
And
sounds
if so, yeah, no, we can expedite the process.
Sounds wonderful. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name's Giselle. I'm the Housing Access and Anti-Displacement Assistant Coordinator, so I work very closely with Cartasia as well as Carmen and Ivory. Thank you for coming. So to start off the raffle, we will be raffling 2 Watts Rising t-shirts as shown here by myself, Anai, which is a street team leader, and Miss Katrina. And so the way that this raffle is going to take place, essentially, I will be asking a question. It's not a pop quiz, but if you want a free t-shirt, feel free to answer in the chat. So I'll ask the question, which is, what are 3 of 24 community identified infrastructure projects Watts Rising is trying to achieve and implement as part of the TCC grant and other initiatives? I also put the question in the chat, but just name 3 of those 24 that we were talking initially about that we're trying to achieve. You can also describe them if you don't know the exact name.
I got it.
Yeah. Yes, I think
Did I answer?
that's, sorry?
Uh-oh.
I think that was an accidental unmute.
Okay.
So we got 1. Ria Ricarte. All right.
Yeah, so I think that was, they mentioned the Culture Mile walk area. So that's one, the new cultural trail that they're referring to. Let's see, the e-vice rideshare plant trees. So yes to the EV rideshare. So as part of the electric car sharing and van pool and dash bus program that we're trying to implement, as well as planting trees. Can you name one more if you remember, or just maybe describe? You're very much on the line. Yes, you need one more.
Yes. All right. So Giselle is our very she sets the bar high with the 3 projects, which is great. But we'll give it to
Marvin.
Maria, Marvin, and Shaquille will have just earned themselves t-shirts, Watts Rising t-shirts.
Yes. Yay. So I was gonna say, can you please direct message me with your email so I can contact you about getting those t-shirts to you. And then my next question for anyone else who does want the opportunity to get one would be to name one resource that we have mentioned so far, and what are some benefits from this resource? We should definitely have sound effects, yes. So far, there have been 3 resources that we've talked about. Super helpful, all of them. So what is one of those that have been mentioned? Yes. Let's see, that's and then do we close it, Ivory, or?
Yes. Can we try to get one more person who hasn't already won a t-shirt? Though we appreciate your enthusiasm, Shaquille. Shaquille is coming through with the answers in the chat. Anyone else? Okay. Well, we applaud enthusiasm. Let's
Yes.
see.
But in that case, then I will pass it back to Cartesia so we can continue on and move forward with the programs. And then we'll send an email directly to the 3 winners with more information. Can you also direct message me the size of your t-shirt, please? That you would like. And yeah, I'll pass it over to Cartesia.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for those who participated in the raffle. And I hope you enjoy the lovely t-shirts that you will be receiving. Up next, we will be having that is the grid alternatives. I see Nick is here. Nick, will you be the one presenting or will it be Lydia? I'm sorry if I say her name correct.
Good evening, Cartesia. Yeah, this is Nick. It's going to be myself, and I actually have the slide deck up. I see Habitat's deck, but that's not the right one.
Okay, yeah. So you could take that one down. Yeah, because I'm sorry, we had emailed Lydia for the slides. We thought she would be presenting, but it's fine. Are you a co-host? With that way, you can go ahead and you can share your screen so
yes,
that.
ma'am. I am. Yes.
Okay, so you can go ahead and share your screen so that you can go ahead and get your presentation up so that everyone can see it. And thank you so much, Nick, for being here, and we appreciate you participating in our workshop.
Of course, I
And
appreciate the invite. Oh, go ahead. Ivory.
I just want to add that Nick is a low-key celebrity, everyone, because
No, I know
Grid
about
was
that.
featured. They were recently on the news. If you go to the What's Rising news and media website, news and media webpage, you can see our friend here and some other Grid folks. So check that out in the chat. Oh, he already did it. All right,
Since you called it out, I had to go ahead and drop and be my own hype man. Ivory, thank you. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to get on these calls with Ivory because she's a great hype woman. Get it? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I'm Nick Boateng, pronouns he, him. I'm with Grid Alternatives, Greater Los Angeles. We've been part of the Watts Rising initiative from the beginning. It's been exciting work. It's been interesting work. It's been challenging work, and we're up for it. I've been with the organization since 2015, and basically it's been a fun ride. I'm a product of the model. I've done the workforce development program myself. I'm a military veteran, so I came through through our workforce Troops of Solar initiative, and I've directly served the community. I've physically done installs in Watts. I've done work in LA, Orange, Ventura County, across the board. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop a couple links in the chat since I recalled out the first one. I just had to go ahead and drop that as well. For Grid Alternatives, we have our homepage as well. So I'll drop that in the chat in case you're curious about the regional office and the other work that we do just in general, and why we were selected to be part of this great Watts Rising initiative. And I'm also going to drop in the chat box, if you don't know, there is a dedicated page. It's a solarwatts.org page that's specifically for this Watts Rising initiative. So I'm also going to drop that in the chat box as well. I believe there's a translation service going on, so I will try to speak at pace that makes sense for the translator. And let me go ahead and present my slide deck for you all. I believe I should, of course, I believe I should be a co-host as mentioned. So let me see, screen share. If you don't see my screen, let me know. I believe you should see the slide deck now, and it should be loading.
Yes. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Wonderful. Yes. So Nick Boateng, Grid Alternatives. Our mission, it basically envisions a rapid and equitable transition to a world powered by renewable energy that benefits everyone. In a brief summary, we want to try to provide solar access to communities that otherwise would have difficulty getting their hands on the technology. And so we've been doing this work essentially since 2006. We have over 2,000 plus installations. We're also working in some commercial and multifamily spaces as well. And we have access to resources from Air Resources Board to help with EV rebates. I know there's a special program for that. through this, which was already spoken about. So why are we doing this work? If you didn't know, the biggest sources of greenhouse gases, this is kind of a snapshot of it in this visual. A lot of this stuff, or at least some of this stuff, impacts the Watts community. I know land transportation is a huge one, and so that's why we have this program as well, to try to offset your vehicle transportation and make it more renewable. Airplanes are flying over. We have oil production. There's stuff burning. There's all kind of stuff going on. So these initiatives are meant to try to help reduce the negative air quality. And so how we do it is through residential solar installation systems. And we essentially, through a qualification process, install solar for families that are eligible. And this is a snapshot of how a basic solar electric system works. It's a technology that has been around for some time. It takes the sunlight and it activates, or it converts that sunlight to usable electricity. So the solar panels are essentially collectors, and they absorb the rays from the sun, and they translate those rays into usable electricity that passes through a box called an inverter, and that changes it to where it can feed your house with electricity. And if there's excess electricity, then that is what shows up on your electricity bill as a credit, and that's how you see savings. So basically, the solar electric system offsets your energy consumption, or it supplements it. So in this case, it does not replace your LADWP electricity. It complements or supplements your LADWP electricity. And that's a screenshot for the visuals in Espanol for those that want to see it. Let me let that sit for a couple seconds and let's move on. All right, so the benefits to client. Essentially for this program, Watts Rising Initiative, it's a pretty sweet deal. Most of your solar, I would say, probably safe to say 99% of the solar offerings that are out there have some sort of cost, even if it's pitched as if there isn't a cost. I'm sure some of you have received the phone call or seen the advertising banner that says free solar installation or no cost installation, etc. And I'm sure you've also seen on television or read in news articles or on the internet, the internet always wins, as the expression goes, of people that have been taken advantage of by companies that said that they were installing free solar. And then you might have heard terms like the HERO program or this or that. And so there's this, it's like a mixed bag of information that's out there regarding the solar technology and how it's being paid for. And so in this grant program, all the costs that are associated with the solar electric system is covered for you. And so you receive 20 years of free solar power. And the property owners that get this solar electric system, they actually own it. And so there's no monthly payment that's involved. It's if you qualify, it's purely yours, and we'll talk about how to qualify in a bit later. The savings on the bill ranges anywhere to 50 to 80% of the electric bill. So if you spend $100 every 2 months on your DWP bill, we're trying to save you $50 to $80 of that 100. And so you could do the math for larger numbers as well. There is no lien on your property. I know it's a big one. We talk about sort of the property ownership and housing and keeping your home. This program is designed to where there's not going to be a lien placed on your property. So you don't have to worry about losing your home if you don't make any payments. Because I know for some of the programs, it's connected to, your property is connected to it. And so if you miss a payment, then, your property has the ability through a mechanic's lien to go into a foreclosure. This is not one of those programs. Why? Because the Watts Rising Initiative covers the cost for you that you otherwise would have come out of pocket. And so there's no money owed, which is a big deal. And in addition to that, there are labor and warranties that are provided for the first 10 years, meaning that if there is a damage that's done to your roof, if there's something going on with the hardware, et cetera, it's all covered at no cost to you. And then when that expires, there's an extended manufacturer's warranty for the major components of the solar electric system, essentially for the lifetime of the system. And then there's an additional clause in there where sometimes people do home renovations and they need to do some roof repairs that they decided to do on their own or some other work. There's also a no cost deinstallation, reinstallation, meaning that we will remove the solar panels off the roof so you can do your work and put it back on the roof at no cost as well for you for those first 10 years. There's some additional benefits that are not necessarily for everyone. It's a case by case. So in some instances, we do provide electrical panel upgrades as needed. There's a budget for that in the Watts Rising initiative, meaning when we come to your property and we check it, and in order for you to be able to receive a solar electric system, you require an electrical panel upgrade. That's something that we can provide at no cost to the qualifying members as well, which is great, because if you look at the prices of electrical panels these days with inflation, you know, you're talking anywhere from $3,500 to $4,500, just depending on the work that needs to be done. And then the big one, the one of the huge factors that we've seen, one of the biggest challenges that we've seen in Watts is roof quality. Sort of the standard of roof quality regarding leaks versus it being solar suitable is a little bit different. And so through a mustering of resources from philanthropy work to some grants, we've been able to put some additional funding together to potentially help with the partial or full roof, depending on the funding availability, and to make the property solar suitable. So in a practical sense, we have scenarios where families get a partial re-roof, which is perfectly safe. The building and safety will come out and check it, and we replace the part of the roof where the solar is going to go. So at least you're able to get access to the solar and benefit the savings versus not being able to do it at all. And in some instances, if we have a flat roof, we naturally can't replace half of a flat roof. It doesn't make sense. So then in those cases, we try to muster up the additional capital to cover the entire cost of the roof. So here's just one snapshot of what solar could potentially look like on the roof, and that finger on the bottom right-hand corner is not mine, but it's there. It's distracting, but you can see the solar electric system. So they're not, you know, some people say they're an eyesore, some people don't. It's really a personal preference. If you think about the purpose and the meaning of solar, and actually the fact that it has the potential to add value to your property, then it doesn't become an eyesore no more. Whenever you start seeing your electric bills go up and you start to see the benefits of it. Some of the other stuff we install are they're called balance of systems. So I put the arrow by them just so you can see. We will install additional boxes that essentially help to transmit the data from the solar panels, the inverters, so that way we can monitor if the solar electric system is functioning or not. There's a monitoring system that comes along with it too. And also there's like a safety lever for the fire department, so they can, if they need to access it and turn it off versus putting an axe through it, then they can just turn the switch off. And then on the electrical panel side, if you get an electrical panel upgrade, there's also going to be a circuit breaker. Regardless, there'll be a solar circuit that's installed in your electrical box. So it'll be like a switch that goes on and off as well. Accomplishments to date, for our project scope, we are trying to achieve a single family solar installation goal of 56. We've currently enrolled 23 families. And so in addition to that, we also have a job training program. And believe it or not, we've trained 39 folks in the Watts area. Our goal is actually, I believe, 38. And I think we have 3 or 4 more that are going through our training cohorts now. They're going to count towards our Watts Rising initiative. So we've actually achieved our workforce development goals already. And I think we're on track to achieve our single family residential install goals as well. yeah, if it wasn't for the housing sort of challenges with roofs, we've definitely checked out a bunch of homes. And, for example, I just looked at the data. There are about 33 residential homes that we just tried to put solar on, but we just couldn't, just because of additional challenges that we're having with building and safety, or et cetera. So we try to work together with building and safety, and we try to work together with our funding partners to try to pull resources to bring access to families for solar technology. How to qualify. So I believe this income limit was already displayed and shared, and the reasoning behind it. It's the same across the board for us as well. The difference here is you have to be a homeowner and you have to live in the property. Why is that? Because when we size a solar electric system, it's not a cookie cutter thing where everybody gets the same amount of solar. The idea is to be able to size a solar electric system for a homeowner that can take the responsibility of the electric bill, and also it's more consistent and stable when they own versus renting. And I know there's like the argument can be made, so some renters stay in the property for a long time, so why can't they qualify? Good question. For this particular program, I think that the focus was to be able to give this service to homeowners, so they can add value to their property. And so to qualify, you have to be a homeowner, you have to live in it, you have to be in the Watts Rising project area. I believe everyone on this call knows where that is. And the income limits are a sliding scale per household size, and this is based on taxable income. So for example, I'm a military veteran, I receive VA disability, that income wouldn't count because it's not taxable income. And so there are some folks that are on Social Security disability, different things of that nature. If you don't file taxes for it and it's non-taxable, then we don't count that source of income for this program. And it's your previous taxed year income. And the roof must be solar suitable is an important part as well of the program. I know this looks like a lot, but I'll summarize it real quick of the steps. Essentially, we pre-screen you. If it sounds like you qualify based on the pre-screening questions, we come in, we schedule an appointment to check out your home. And so we check out the roof, we check your electrical panel, we check out all the various things that we need to know in order to be able to determine if your home is solar suitable. If it is, we collect your eligibility documents. You have to prove that you qualify. So it's proof of ownership, your proof of income. And the applicant has to be responsible for the electric bill. And then we also collect historical usage because we size the solar electric system based on your household historical usage. Then we design the system, we check it, make sure it's good. We come back to you with an agreement to explain to you what we're installing and how we're installing it. And if everything's okay with that, we sign the agreement. And then we go to the city, we get a permit. So it's not some Mickey Mouse install where we just come up and slap solar panels on your roof and take off. It's a fully permitted process. And so the city actually comes out and they check everything. So we pull the permit, we schedule the installation with you. Some installs take 1 day, some take 2 days, depending on the size of the solar electric system. Then we contact the city, they come back, they check our work, they sign it off. Then we take that paperwork, we submit it to LADWP, so they know that we've installed a solar electric system. They take a look at everything, and if they're happy with what they see, then they give us permission to turn on the system. How long does this process take? It can take anywhere from 3 months to 4, depending on all the variables involved. As we know, the pandemic happened. Depending on the backlog of the city, depending on all the backlog of the utility, like all these variables play a role. Sometimes it can take longer to turn on the system. Sometimes it can take less. It really just depends on variables that are outside of our control. But I would say it's definitely a couple months process, but it's totally worth waiting. To access to see if you qualify, there's a solarwatts.org website. I put that in the chat. It's pretty intuitive. If you punch in your address and you press search, it's going to tell you if your home is in the project area or not. We also work with the Watts Rising Street team. They're great folks that work directly in the community that inform the community of services that are available. If you come across a Watts Rising Street team member, they can also help you. And there's also a contact phone number, 213-378-1188. That's available to you. That's a direct line, I believe, to Selena Pacheco from our Grid Alternatives team, who can assist you directly. So you have options. You can check out the website or make the phone call to see if you potentially qualify. Or if you come across the folks from the Watts Rising Street team, they'll be more than happy to take your information down and to pass it along to us. We also have a referral program. This is outside of the Watts Rising. We thought about the renters as well. And in order for you to help spread the word, we want to also inject money back into the community. So this is a grid funded referral program. If you're a renter or if you're not a homeowner, if you live with your parents, whatever the scenario, if you know of homeowners that you think could potentially benefit from this, that live in the Watts Rising service area, we have a referral program. And if you refer them, then if they sign up and they go through the whole process, then you get a $200 check from us. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Do we have any questions for me? Or did I go through this like way too fast? I don't know. You guys tell me.
Actually, 2 hands raised. Ignite Daniel and iPhone. Are those questions for Nick?
No, my apologies. My hand has still been up. I'll take it down.
Okay, no problem. And iPhone?
Yeah, the hand has been raised for a while. So I don't know if it's for me or for another person.
Well, I have a question regarding whether Grid is still accepting future training participants, or since you've kind of reached the goal, are the training classes over?
Great question. So our goal was achieved already, and essentially, I think we even have 4 additional folks from Watts that are going through trainings that we have going on for other programs. So the formal answer is for Watts Rising, we've achieved 100% capacity. That doesn't mean that we won't train them. So send them over.
All right, thank you. I hope everyone heard that, because Grid is really a leader in not just helping people go to sustainable forms of energy with the solar panels, but also in training folks to learn this technology. And they have really good statistics and success stories about folks who've gone through the paid training program and then got placed into careers in the solar industry. So as we think about, the fact that we have more heat days, worsening asthma, worsening air quality, instead of our communities being kind of at the mercy of, climate change and these issues, we can also be leaders in it through learning this technology and, working at certain companies, or even starting people's own companies to lead in this space. So we're grateful to Grid for their major contribution to the Watts Rising Collaborative.
I appreciate you saying that, Ivory. And just to provide clarity, the solar industry is not just about installing solar panels on the roof. And so that's where I think a lot of folks get stuck. Like, I don't want to get on the roof. You don't have to. There's so many avenues. I know one of the sort of the common easy ones is sales. But there's so much other potential for opportunity, from supply chain logistics to project management to engineering to electrical. It's a whole ecosystem of things that are connected. And there's also battery storage component. So that's something that's becoming more and more relevant. And so you'll start to see more of that combination of solar electric systems plus battery storage paired with somebody getting an EV charger in their house plus an electric vehicle. And so there's workforce development opportunities from the top of that pipeline all the way through. and it's not just a installing solar on the roof thing. So, and Ivory, next time you can present from Grid, because you're always a great hype person. There you go. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for that great presentation. And hopefully those that are listening will be able to take advantage of this. This is another much needed program in my community of Watts. Thank you so much, Nick. Okay, so are there any more questions before I go on to the next thing? But unfortunately, our partner that was a part of this, one of our participants and our speakers with Habitat LA, they had an emergency where they won't be able to join us. So what we will do is we're going to direct you to our website so that that you can get that last year's presentation. And also we will be sending you the contact info to connect with Habitat LA. And that website is wattsrising.org/stay-rooted/home, which also be dropped in the chat, /NPLH resource fair. So once again, that's wattsrising.org/stay-rooted/home/NPLH resource fair. Well, you can see last year's presentation on the Habitat LA. So thank you once again. So that contact is that dropped in the chat. So we'll also be forwarding you their information. So I think that is concluding our presentation. Make sure you get the Habitat LA contact information. And also if you would like to be contacted also with their information, just go ahead and drop it in the chat. We would like to thank all of the speakers for taking the time out today to come and present today and give the Watts residents this much needed information on these resources that are available. So if you are listening, you are here in a participant and you are a Watts resident, make sure that you take advantage of all of this valuable information that has been presented to you today. And if you are not able to take advantage of it, spread the word, and get it out there, because these resources are here and readily available for you to take advantage of. And I'd like to just give a hand to all of the speakers. Great presentations, great information. And thank you so much for your time. There's no place like home, especially my home of Watts. We are unique. And yes, I'm just excited and thrilled to hear about this information. And I myself will be passing along to others in my neighborhood. So yes, thank you so much.
And before we go, can we also give Ms. Cartasia Perkins a round of applause for the great facilitation and coordination, even in the midst of technical difficulties?
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely evening. Oh, and just as a reminder, we have another event, a resource summit focused on small business resources, almost the same time, same channel. It starts at 4 p.m., also via Zoom. So we hope you can make that tomorrow.
Yes. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. And make sure you join us tomorrow for the Small Business Summit. Have a great evening.